Let's dive into the 20 most anticipated movies of 2024. From superhero sequels to musical adaptations and sci-fi adventures, there's something for everyone in this list. So buckle up and get ready as we kick off our list with El Muerto, a movie based on one of Spider-Man's most obscure allies. The film stars pop star turned actor Bad Bunny as Juan Carlos Estrada Sanchez, a Mexican wrestler who is resurrected by the Aztec god of death to fight evil. The film will be directed by Jonas Cuarón, the son of Alfonso Cuarón, who co-wrote Gravity and directed Desierto. El Muerto was originally set to hit theaters on January 12th, but may be experiencing some setbacks. Next up is The Fall Guy, a film adaptation of an 80s TV show about a stuntman who moonlights as a bounty hunter. The film stars Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt as the lead duo and is directed by David Leitch, who previously helmed John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Hobbs & Shaw. With that kind of pedigree, you can expect some awesome action scenes and witty banter in this movie. The Fall Guy is scheduled for release on March 1st. Pixar is known for making some of the most heartwarming and imaginative animated films ever, and their next feature is no exception. Elio tells the story of an 11-year-old boy who is accidentally beamed up into space and mistaken for an ambassador for Earth on another planet. The film is the directorial debut of Adrian Molina, who previously worked on Coco, Toy Story 4, and Luca. Elio promises to be a fun and touching adventure that will appeal to kids and adults alike. The film is set to land in theaters on March 1st. Sony's Spider-Man universe, without Spider-Man, has had its ups and downs, but Madame Web might be worth checking out. The film stars Dakota Johnson as Cassandra Webb, a clairvoyant woman who guides Spider-Man and other heroes in the comics. The film also features Sydney Sweeney, Adam Scott, and Zosia Mamey in supporting roles. Madame Web is directed by S.J. Clarkson, who has worked on TV shows like Jessica Jones, The Defenders, and Succession. The film will spin its web into theaters on February 16th. The Despicable Me franchise is one of the most successful and popular animated series ever, spawning 3 movies, a spin-off in Minions, and a sequel in Minions: The Rise of Gru. Despicable Me 4 will be the 4th installment in the main series, following the adventures of Gru, his wife Lucy, their adopted daughters Margot, Edith, and Agnes, and their lovable yellow minions. The film will feature the voices of Steve Carell as Gru, Kristen Wiig as Lucy, Miranda Cosgrove as Margot, Dana Geyer as Edith, and Nev Sherrill as Agnes. The film is directed by Kyle Balda and Brad Abelson, who also directed Minions: The Rise of Gru. Despicable Me 4 will hit theaters on July 3rd. Amy Winehouse was one of the most talented and troubled singers of our time, and her life story certainly deserves a proper biopic. Back to Black is that biopic, starring Marissa Abela as the iconic vocalist who rose to fame with her soulful voice and Grammy-winning albums, but struggled with addiction and personal demons until her tragic death in 2011. The film is directed by Sam Taylor Johnson, who previously helmed Nowhere Boy and 50 Shades of Grey. Back to Black will hit the screens in early 2024. Disney's live-action remake of The Lion King was a huge hit in 2019, but many fans felt that it lacked the charm and emotion of the original animated classic. Well, Disney is hoping to redeem themselves with Mufasa: The Lion King, a prequel that explores the backstory of Simba's father and his rise to power in the Pride Lands. The film features Aaron Pierre as Mufasa, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa, Billy Eichner as Timon, Kelvin Harrison as Scar, and John Connie as Rafiki. The film is directed by Barry Jenkins, who won an Oscar for Moonlight and also directed If Beale Street Could Talk. Mufasa: The Lion King will roar into theaters on July 5th. Po is back for the 4th installment of the Kung Fu Panda franchise, and he's ready to kick some butt. The film will continue the adventures of the lovable panda and his friends the Furious Five as they face new threats and challenges in their quest to master the art of Kung Fu. The film features the voices of Jack Black as Po, Angelina Jolie as Tigress, Dustin Hoffman as Shifu, Seth Rogen as Mantis, Lucy Liu as Viper, David Cross as Crane, and James Hong as Mr. Ping. The film is directed by Jennifer Yu Nelson, who also directed Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3. This film is set to chop its way into theaters on March 8th. One of the most beloved musicals of all time is Wicked, based on Gregory Maguire's novel that reimagines the story of the Wizard of Oz from the perspective of Elphaba, aka the Wicked Witch of the West. The musical has been a smash hit on Broadway and around the world since 2003, and fans have been eagerly awaiting for a movie adaptation for years. Well, the wait is almost over because Wicked Part 1 is coming to theaters in 2024. The film stars Ariana Grande as Glinda, Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard, Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible, Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero, and Idina Menzel, the original Elphaba, as Nessa Rose. The film is directed by John M. Chu, who previously helmed Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights. Wicked Part 1 will defy gravity on November 27th. The Lord of the Rings is one of the most beloved and acclaimed fantasy franchises ever, and it's getting a new edition in 2024. The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim is an animated prequel that will explore the history of Helm's Deep, the fortress that was the site of an epic battle in the Two Towers. The film will focus on Helm Hammerhand, the legendary king of Rohan, who fought against the Dunlendings and their sorcerer leader Freka. The film will feature the voice of Richard Armitage as Helm, coming back after the Hobbit trilogy. The film is directed by Kenji Kamiyama, who previously worked on anime series like Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and Eden of the East. This film is set to charge into theaters on April 12th. John Wick is definitely one of the coolest and deadliest assassins ever, but he's not the only one in his world. Ballerina is a spin-off that will focus on a female assassin who seeks revenge against the people who killed her family. It's the first spin-off of the John Wick franchise and is set between the events of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum and John Wick Chapter 4. It stars Ana de Armas, Angelica Huston, Gabriel Byrne, Lance Reddick, Catalina Sandino Moreno, Norman Reedus, Ian McShane, and Keanu Reeves. The film is directed by Len Wiseman, who previously helmed Underworld and Live Free or Die Hard. Ballerina will hit theaters on June 7th. Pixar is back with Inside Out 2, a sequel that will explore the teenage mind of Riley, who's now 16 years old and facing new challenges and emotions. The film will feature Amy Poehler as Joy, Phyllis Smith as Sadness, Bill Hader as Fear, Lewis Black as Anger, Mindy Kaling as Disgust, and Caitlin Diaz as Riley. The film is directed by Kelsey Mann, who previously worked on Onward and Monsters University. Inside Out 2 is set to hit theaters on June 14th. A Quiet Place was one of the most terrifying and original horror movies of 2018, and its sequel, A Quiet Place Part 2, was equally thrilling and suspenseful in 2021. But A Quiet Place Day 1 is a prequel that will show you how the world became overrun by deadly creatures that hunt by sound. The film stars Lupita Nyong'o as a woman who fights for her survival during an alien invasion in New York City. The film also features Joseph Quinn as her brother, Alex Wolff as her boyfriend, and Cillian Murphy as a mysterious stranger who helps them along the way. The film is directed by Michael Sarnowski, who previously helmed Pig starring Nicolas Cage. A Quiet Place Day 1 will make you scream on March 8th. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is always expanding and evolving, and one of its newest additions is Captain America: Brave New World. The film will follow Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, who took up the mantle of Captain America at the end of Avengers Endgame and continued his journey in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series. The film will feature Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Emily Van Camp as Sharon Carter, Wyatt Russell as John Walker, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. The film is directed by Kerry Scogland, who also directed all 6 episodes of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Captain America: Brave New World will fly into theaters on July 26th. Gladiator was one of the most epic and acclaimed movies of 2000, winning 5 Oscars including Best Picture and Best Actor for Russell Crowe. Gladiator 2 will be the long-awaited sequel that will continue the story of Maximus Decimus Meritus, the Roman general who became a gladiator and avenged his family and emperor. The film will feature an amazing cast including Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn, and Connie Nielsen. The film is directed by Ridley Scott, who also directed the first Gladiator and other classics like Alien, Blade Runner, and Thelma and Louise. Gladiator 2 will enter the arena on November 22nd. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2 is the 8th and final installment in the Mission Impossible film series, following Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. The film will feature Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, finishing out the story left on a cliffhanger from the previous movie. The film is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who also directed the previous 3 films in the series. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2 will explode into theaters on June 28th. The Thunderbolts is an upcoming superhero film based on the Marvel Comics team of the same name, featuring a group of reformed villains who work for the government. The film will feature Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, David Harbour as the Red Guardian, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, Olga Kurylenko as Taskmaster, Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, and Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Ross, or the Red Hulk. The film is directed by Jake Schreier and will storm into theaters on December 20th. One of the most surprising and successful movies of 2019 was Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix as the iconic Batman villain in a gritty origin story that earned him an Oscar for Best Actor. Well, Phoenix is back for Joker Folie, Deux, a sequel that will explore his relationship with Harley Quinn, played by Lady Gaga in her first comic book role. The film is directed by Todd Phillips, who also helmed the first Joker and the Hangover trilogy. Joker Folie Deux will laugh its way into theaters on October 4th. Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool is one of the most popular and hilarious superheroes ever, and he's finally joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Deadpool 3. The film will follow the Merc with a Mouth as he interacts with other MCU characters and breaks the fourth wall like never before. The film will also feature Hugh Jackman as the iconic character Wolverine. Deadpool 3 is directed by David Leitch, who also directed Deadpool 2 and John Wick. This film will slice and dice its way into theaters on May 4th. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is the third and final chapter in the Spider-Verse trilogy, following Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The film will feature Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, and Mahershala Ali as Aaron Davis. The film is directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will swing into theaters in late 2024. One thing to keep in mind with these release dates is that a lot of them are flexible, especially with the ongoing strikes in Hollywood. Let me know in the comments what movies you're looking forward to most. Don't forget to subscribe for more of my content, and if you liked the video, check out the one on your screen too.